Good.
Welcome to the podcast, Hannes.
Hello.
Thanks
Hi,
for
Chris.
stopping by. I have a million questions.
Okay.
The first one being, why do you think paintball developed so wildly different to airsoft? Even though the basics of like shooting each other, like you get taken out by getting hit, are so similar. How come it's so different?
I think it's because of the paintball. It's because of the splat. When paintball started in the 1980s, the first thing was always to hit the other, to mark the other, and it's always competitive. And as soon as the first games somewhere in Florida started, they always want to have tournaments. So the whole industry was behind to bring paintball out of the woods, on fields, on concept fields, and we had a run in paintball to get into television. This run starts from the 1980s to 2010. Paintball always wanted to come to the television, so they did a lot of work to get paintball out of the army, paramilitary, to concept fields. So when you
say they, do you mean the entire industry or the players, the community? Like, was it all of them were pulling on the same string, or was it because there is woodland games, right? There is it did separate it to a certain degree.
It's changed a little bit in the last 10-15 years. Also because of this television issue, but the whole industry, it came from America, and the American people, they always want to go outside. They want to play somewhere, they want to do things, and they want to come in television. And in the 80s and in the 90s, they say, if you want to become a sport, and go into television, you need to get rid of all this camouflage, you need to get rid of these guns which look like guns. If you look at old paintball guns, they look like Sterling, the Sterling guns. So, and the big companies say, okay, well, if you want to go in television like a sport, get rid of all this. And then in the beginning of the 1990s, European companies begin to make paintball fields without the woods. So they have the hyperball fields, these are the
inflatable stuff.
This the supper fields is this, and they have the hyperball fields, which are the black water pipes, and they build it up in in some parks, and it's going competitive. And I think this was the big difference to airsoft, why paintball get a push. They want to go outside. They want to show, here we are a sport, and the whole industry was pulling on one string to get to a sport. And like you said, now we have scenarios and woodland games and so on and so on. About 2005 to 2010, they realized that you can't be good in television. If you look at a paintball field or at the airsoft field, you have multiple games on one time. It's not like football where you have one ball and the cameras just follow one ball. And then they say, okay, well, maybe television is not the best way. We want to get a reactional sport. It should play everybody. So, and then the tournaments stopped a little bit. And you have a lot of woodball and scenario and so on and so on.
It's interesting how you say in the beginning that the main difference comes from the splash. So it's the ability of confirming a hit, or so basically you're saying that because in airsoft you cannot really confirm a hit, that's why it's hard to go competitive with it.
For spectators. And when the third person and the spectator is there, and I shoot at you, with an airsoft PP, you say hit, and maybe they see the PPs falling off, but the spectator.
So it's not spectacular enough. It's like I think I heard it. I'm not sure.
Probably this was the main difference in the beginning.
I think what they're doing now in airsoft is, when you look at SpeedQB with the tracer BBs, there you kind of like, it's like this glowing thing that it's fast and all of a sudden it's slow, so it's kind of recognizable to a human eye. I think that's happening a bit, but it's interesting to base it just on the fact that you can have a ref, I guess, that is like a more recognizable system of hit recognition.
It's always more competitive.
Yeah.
And I think the competitive way, always needs to go straight to more and more and more. Yeah. If I look back in the 1990s, airsoft was still more in like modeling, like
it's like a cosplay reenactment.
When I remember, I saw my first airsoft gun as a kid in a toy store, which wasn't a complete gun. You need the glue to build everything together.
Oh, really?
It was an MP40, and you need to glue everything together to have this airsoft gun. It was fun. I think I was 12 years old or something like that.
Really laughing. It's a couple years ago, you still had to build your own guns to make them shoot good. So it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised actually that it comes. That's what you've experienced. What I also like is how you say that they tried to do this, they tried to do that. So is it really like a massive community that all follows the same direction?
We had a very strong industry. Where also competitors work together to get the tournament paintball forward. And these were mostly US American companies, a few European companies, and they work together. It's not that there were Asian companies or something like this. So the US Americans and the Europeans always work together to get the tournament paintball forward. And this was for a long time. This was the wheel, which always keep going. They put a lot of money into these tournaments. They sponsor a lot of teams. Which was not always good. Right now, the tournament paintball isn't so big as it was 15 years ago. And this is also a fact because the industry stopped sponsoring everything. And the pro teams and the amateur teams didn't get the money, so they say, okay, well, then I don't want to play. And so the tournaments get smaller. On the one hand, well, it's sad because the tournament paintball isn't so big, but on the other side, you see, it's a normal evolution. It's not always the industry which puts in money.
That's such a different approach to what's happening with airsoft, because airsoft is not. I feel like the industry is not really holding together as a whole and has a vision where it wants to move. It's just organically evolving like that. That's what people are interested in. Okay, this is happening, but it's not.
That's cool. That's a cool product.
That's cool. That's cool to buy it. Or that's a cool field. Let's go there. That's a cool game mode. Let's do this. But it's not this whole conglomerate where the whole industry just fusions together and let's say, okay, let's push it this way. Which is, as you say, like maybe if you try to make something out of it that the nature of the sport just doesn't really allow, like a extremely fun to watch television show, then maybe that's why it didn't work out in the end. They just pushed it in a direction that it's not really meant.
It's right now, if today, if you look at paintball and airsoft, with all the changings in the world, with the changing of the social behavior of the people, you see a lot of more evolvement in airsoft.
How did it start in the very beginning when you said, okay, they played it in the woods and then they catched up and they tried to push it towards television? But how was it in the very beginning, like the first years of paintball? The very first game.
Not
for you, but in in the sport in general.
Well, there are several different stories, but the main legend was that a few players, 6 players, met together in 1983, I guess, and in Florida, take some marking pistols.
What's a marking pistol?
They used marking pistols for marking cows, for counting the cows, and also for marking trees. So when you when you work in the woods, yeah, and you need to say, okay, well, that's you're in America.
I thought it's actually the other way around. I thought paintball guns were misused for marking cows and trees.
Yes,
so actually, it's the other way around.
Yeah, today. The beginning was the other way. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's
and
that's new to me.
They used these marking pistols and said, okay, let's go into the woods and play surviving games. Yeah, last man standing.
Yeah.
This was the very beginning. And the people who played this game were also very good businessmen, and they said, well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Let's make money out of it. Yeah. Let's make it big.
Okay, and then the natural evolution was bigger games with multiple people, or
they made playing fields. Yeah, they make events. Yeah, they rented wood and said, okay, well, let's come, rent your equipment and play. And this was also the starting of the playing fields. Yeah, where they say, okay, well, paintball equipment is quite expensive. Yeah, you don't need to buy it if you want to make it big. Buy 20 sets, 30 sets. Yeah, invite the people and say, okay, here's your equipment. Take the rental equipment and play and have fun.
I think that's also a widely different characteristic from paintball, that it's just trying it seems to be so much easier. Like the infrastructure for rental gear, it's kind of like a common knowledge that if you want to play paintball, you just go there and you get it, right? But then it's common knowledge in Airsoft that, oh, you want to play Airsoft, wow, that's different. Okay, there's a couple fields who might have gear, but then the gear is, I don't know, it's like, maybe that's just where I started Airsoft, but in Upper Austria, like rental gear is just not a thing. It just doesn't exist there. I know that you guys have it at your field. Like you have Airsoft rental gear and paintball rental gear. And I also know that there's, I think the only other field I know in Austria that has rental gear is actually Paintballpark Tirol. I think all the other ones don't really have it.
Yeah, it's not so easy to keep up with all your rental equipment.
Yeah, also it's a nightmare.
On the one hand, in the last few years, on the technician side of the airsoft guns, there was a big evolving. So the gear isn't plastic anymore. You have more metal. It lasts longer. You have now also the ability that you take an HPA rental gun, which we also use. Where you can catch.
Use the Tipman, right?
Yeah,
the Tipman system.
Yeah. We have some Tipmans. We have also some electric guns. But with the Tipman, you can use the infrastructure of a paintball field. You just go there, fill up the air, and let's play. You don't need to charge the batteries. You don't need to change the batteries. So it's easier. And
they run for a long time, right?
Yeah, that's right.
They're reliable.
That's right. And when we buy rental guns, we always take one or two prototypes to test them, to hand them out to people to see, okay,
do the last.
Yeah, right.
Do the last.
Do the last.
Do they come back and it's broken in half after 1 year?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I understand that 5 years ago or 10 years ago it wasn't reliable to use airsoft guns as rental guns.
Yeah. I also do see a trend where fields, like more and more fields, keep adapting it. Like you can get good budget AR-15s, AGs that are like okay-ish, like they run for a couple of games. But I agree, like years ago you basically had to build one in order to rent it out or to even play with it. I mean it's
like the Liberator gun of the Second World War. You just grab it, you shoot, and then you throw it away.
Exactly.
Now it's possible. Yeah.
So where do you see paintball going now? When you say, okay, it tried to become this huge thing and it tried to become football, basically like a smaller version of football, and now they realize more and more and more, okay, it's not really working out as we intended it to be. Where's it going, and also where's it going compared to Airsoft? Like, is it becoming what Airsoft is, or?
Not really. Yeah, I think both paintball and airsoft, they're both good. And they have both. It's fun in both. At paintball, the big rally to the television is over. But what we achieved is that paintball is kind of normal.
It's normalized. you're not.
You go to your.
No one
friend.
says you're a psychopath when you play paintball. While people do say that you're absolutely like. There's people who just say you play airsoft, you're absolutely weird. Yeah, that's just reality.
Time, yeah. Well, it's normal. Yeah. You just grab your friends, go to the field, play for a couple of hours, have fun, and then you go good, and that's it, But that's a big achievement. Yeah?
That's a huge achievement.
And in airsoft, right now, with all the changes in society, I think generation millennial and so on, everybody wants to have it quick and easy.
Yeah.
When you look at paintball and you say, okay, I will buy a paintball set for my own and go paintballing, you need more experience, you need a good seller, and in airsoft it's easier. You get your gun, you pick everything together, and you go to a playing day. That's it. So right now we see at the field the trend that people go this way, which is the easiest way. So if you remember back maybe 5, 7 or 10 years ago, you have large airsoft clubs, large teams. Where are they now? They fall apart.
This is hard for me to judge because in Upper Austria where I started playing, there was not really a commercialized field, so there wasn't even the option of the easy route of taking your own gear, going to the game. There's already 100 people anyways, so it was always community based. Like an airsoft club basically. Non-profit, just a couple dudes running it, and they say, hey, there's a game on the weekend, we bring your stuff. But then when I moved to Vienna, there is the opportunity of go there, play, go back, you don't have to organize anything, you don't have to bring your barbecue and cook for 100 people.
That's the point. That's the point, it's easy.
But here I don't know if this was if back when I played in Upper Austria, it was like this in Vienna as well, or if in Vienna it was always go to the game, play, just go back and don't care about it.
What I mean, it's not only in airsoft. It's, you have in all these sports and former extreme sports. If I look back in the surfer scene, 15 years ago, it was big if you can surf, or if you're a surfer. If you look now, everybody shows you a picture of I was at the beach, I'm a surfer. They don't want to sit on the beach for 3 days to wait for the perfect wave. They want to go to the beach, have the wave, take the picture, and they're happy. It is an easy way. And that's the way.
It's that, and also I think it's the shared economy that's happening. Like you don't own stuff these days anymore. It's like there's electric scooters out the door, just jump out in and drive, or you don't need a car, you just take a car to go, you swipe a credit card, boom, there we go. I don't have to worry about it, I don't have to maintain it. Screw that. And I also saw it with, like I was in the mountain a couple weeks ago, and I saw people doing downhill, just driving down with the bikes, and literally can go there almost naked. Like all you need is underwear, everything else you get, and that's it.
You need the credit card to rent everything.
Boom, you can do any sport in the world with a credit card. No preparation, no research, no nothing. You go there, they give you the stuff, boom, you have fun, and that's it. But I still think that the airsoft community is. I think in most sports you see that, like skiing and so on. You just go there, you get all the stuff you need, but when I go to, maybe you see it in a different way because you operate the field, obviously you have clearer numbers and I just go from gut feel. But for me, I still think it's like a very core community, or let's say there's 100 people, 50 people are the core of the airsoft community from Austria. They play since 5 years, they have their own gear, they are super dedicated. And then the other 50 people they split up between, okay, I had a few games or it's the first game. That's how I feel like.
Yeah, that's right. I see also in airsoft a bigger core community right now than in paintball. That's for sure. I see an increase of numbers of players which are just rent the gear, or have their own gear but no team, or no club. They just go to single events. The community you have in airsoft is very, very important because you're the pumping heart of it. If you have the community, you get all the single players to be there and to play more. That's maybe a thing we don't have in paintball right now. We don't have a strong community which have their leading personals which go there and say, well, I'm here, I play here, here's a tournament or a cool playing game, let's come. Yeah. You have it a little bit in the woodsball and scenario. Yeah, we have in Europe big tournaments, big scenario games like Scenario Big Game, which is in Poland. Yeah, a couple of years we had the Euro Big Game, which is also a big scenario paintball game in Germany. Yeah, there you have some leading roles. Yeah, which invited the community and all the single players. Yeah, and yeah, when you look at airsoft and all the airsoft gaming days, in Austria or in Hungary or in Slovakia, whatever, it's always the pumping heart of your key community which goes there, and then the single players follow. Yeah. It's good for you and for the economy. Yeah.
But if you say that competitive paintball is getting smaller and smaller and it's going towards scenario, wood ball, or how you guys call it, and military maybe even to a certain degree?
There are several names.
But if that's happening, don't you think, if you go back, that paintball had in a way a different potential because you could see the hits and it looked spectacular, and you could, like, the referees have a better chance of catching it. But now if you take the competitiveness out of it, don't you think airsoft is more like it's more affordable? It doesn't hurt as much. The range is higher. The precision is higher. So, do you think that paintball that the people who go into woodball then transition to airsoft, and the kind of like the paintball community vanishes into airsoft while only the small competitive part stays? Do you see that happening?
Yes and no. It's a very interesting point, because if you look at the players right now, who is playing airsoft and who is playing paintball. The paintball players are a little bit older. Yeah, let's talk about the guys who play scenario or McFeed are about 27 to 35 years. Yeah, and the airsoft players are a little bit younger. Yeah, so there are also some players which do both. Yeah, and have fun in both sports.
Really?
Yeah,
like their own both equipments.
Yeah.
That's insane. Why would you do that?
Why not? Because the key of both sports is the same. You want to go on hunt. Yeah,
but there's enough games that you can go every weekend basically. So what's the intention of owning both?
If you look at the airsoft equipment, it's cool. Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah. If you look at the paintball. The activity to hit another player with a splat, it's
that's
also cool.
Maybe a cool experience. Yeah. If I would shoot someone with an airsoft beam and it just like paint explodes on his head, like that's super cool.
Yeah. If you look on some videos when they have the barrel cams and they hit the player on 70 meters or something. So it's both fun. It's both really fun. Yeah, and. Like you said, if the wood player merge into airsoft, you will always have a little transition in between. Yeah.
But do you think it's also going the other way around? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if I'm a woodland McFed paintball player, and then someone tells me, hey, there's a different operation system where the ammunition is cheaper. It's biodegradable, you don't have paint all over your everything, over your bloody expensive gear, and it shoots further and more precise. It's hard to not transition, right? While the other way around, if I tell a paintball player, hey, there's a sport where the ammunition is more expensive and there's all these disadvantages, you need the compressed air, which might not be available in a forest field, so your fields, you cannot be as picky about the fields, but there's one advantage, the ammunition is splashing on someone. It's kind of like, the splashing is cool, but am I gonna, go for all these disadvantages? So maybe I'm biased because I'm such a die-hard airsoft player, but for me, I would say, if I would have to bet my money on it, I would say paintballers transition more to airsoft than the other way around.
For sure, yeah, for sure.
Especially the ones who consider it their hobby. Okay, I can agree that people who want to try this, a company team building event.
Oh, cool.
Let's go. It's more accepted, because the paintballers, as you said, they did a really good job in making this a non-military sport. Like, it's not controversial at all anymore. So this I see, but as soon as you make it in a non-competitive recreational hide and seek in the forest, I just think that airsoft is more attractive.
Yeah, like I said, both sports are really good. Yeah,
you have to stand for both sides. I understand.
Not really. I play both. Yeah, I play both. But I see when you're addicted.
Like in the split role, you have to support airsoft fans.
For sure. Now, when you're in a hobby, and when you're addicted.
When you're in both hobbies.
When you're in both hobbies, and when you're addicted to both hobbies, money isn't a key factor. Yeah. But in the beginning, if you start, you're completely right. Airsoft is easier. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's completely easier. Right now, if you take a 25-year-old boy, and you say you can go play airsoft and you can go and play paintball, he will go play paintball and rent all the equipment, and he will buy some airsoft stuff and play airsoft. You see the difference?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think this could change. And it's going in this direction, very slow, but it's going there. Like rental gear, as we mentioned before, like it is becoming a thing. And I agree. Like if someone wants to play this hide and seek game with something that shoots, people think first of paintball.
Yeah, we have so many calls and emails, from young players who wanted to know, can they play? Yeah, do we have equipment? Because they just wanted to test it. Yeah, they want to get their hands on an airsoft gun. Yeah. They want to test it, and I know from the companies around, 1 or 2 weeks later, they have their own equipment.
No.
It's the easiest way, And I see a big rise of airsoft and airsoft players here in Austria, because it's easier.
What also surprises me when it comes to the differences of airsoft and paintball is, and I hate to say it, and I know the audience is gonna hate me for saying that as well, but I think paintball technology is far ahead of airsoft. I think airsoft guns, okay, don't quote me on that, don't cut this out of this video and use it by itself, but I think airsoft guns are crap compared to paintball guns. In its technology, in its involvement, in its quality control, in its precision machinery. When I take a Planet Eclipse, like the newest, coolest shit, and you take it, like, it looks like an iPhone. It looks like an iPhone. It's the trigger is like this long. I have zero slack in both directions. My trigger travel is adjustable in all axes. I have an OLED display on my screen where I can adjust all the stuff I want.
All the gimmicks.
And then you look at the most advanced airsoft guns, and they're just not there. They're just not there. Like they're still good because they are built around what I think is the better projectile. I'm gonna say that now. I think it's the better projectile, so that's why they can beat a paintball gun in a sense. But for what they made, it's out of the projectile that paintball is using, I think it's incredible.
Most of the paintball guns come from the United States.
Yeah.
And in the first days, they always started with CNC machines, to build from a block of aluminium your gun. And in the beginning, they started with there were hardly no springs in the beginning, so it was CO2, and then compressed air.
You mean in paintball?
Paintball,
Is there springs in paintball?
There were a few guns which run on springs. In the beginning.
But how do you get those 10 joules out of a spring? Right
now, you have a lot of paintball guns with the smaller caliber, with caliber 50. We have the smaller projectile, where you can shoot with spring guns, and it flies about 35-40 meters.
How many joules? What's the output?
It depends, but it's around 7 to 10 joule.
How do you charge 7 to 10 joules?
It's easy.
Just like
like a pump gun. Tick tick.
Oh wow. I'm surprised to hear that.
And
there's a lot to learn for airsofters. 10 joules just like that. It's a lot to learn. Really, like all the airsoft manufacturers out there learn from paintball. Seriously, like they are just further in the development. So
they started in the United States with compressed air, CO2, and they built everything out of metal. And if you look at the airsoft, they started in Asia, and they built everything more with plastic, and with electronic. and it's just two different routes where they started. Yeah.
I also feel like people accept higher prices for paintball guns. Like a paintball marker goes up to, like a reasonable competitive paintball marker goes up to what, $1.5 grand?
1,600, 1,700.
And in airsoft, $1.5 grand is it's basically not. I know people are gonna say, yeah, there's Systema and there's. But who uses a Systema? Who uses Systema these days, and who uses? I mean, there's like custom built guns, which are, but they're not really mass manufactured, which are like $1.5 grand. But like a top of the line, high performance, competitive, let's call it competitive HE is 400 maybe?
No, 400.
Yeah. So people don't really accept these brand. Like if you would have an actual mass produced guns that are made in the thousands for 1,500, like the Systema, I think you don't really. How many Systemas do you see these days? Like, they are not very popular.
Right now at our field, not much.
Maybe 1 on 100.
Yeah.
If even.
Probably,
and this is more like a status thing. It's like I can afford it. I'm just gonna buy it.
The bling bling.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a bling bling gun. It sounds different. So people are gonna look and say, "Oh, you rich motherfucker." Yeah. But it's not. You don't really buy it for performance. Yeah. That's for sure.
What I see is a lot of players using compressed air (HPA) for airsoft guns. More and more and more. And
would you say it's an increasing trend?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it increased a couple of years ago and then it decreased again.
Really? Okay, I just know the numbers at the field. Yeah, when we started with airsoft, we started with airsoft in 2009. With the first airsoft guns. You don't see anything. Yeah, but the compressed air was there. Yeah, we have the compressors, we have everything, and in the last 2 years, we have on a playing game day about 20 to 30 players with compressed air. Yeah.
Maybe that's also because you have the compressor. Because not every field, like if I look at the other fields in Vienna, I don't think they have it as well because they used to have paintball as well. No. I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyways, when I look at paintball reviews, I wish airsoft would be there already. Yeah. Like they're just not as dedicated. And also, I think what I'm really jealous about when it comes to paintball is, and I also know people are gonna hate me for this, but I like how the guns are not designed around a real gun. Not because I say that guns are bad or anything, which a lot of people say, and I understand why society goes in this direction. But what I like about it is that the design freedom is massive, because we try to, we take this thing that's meant to shoot a real bullet, and now we squeeze some system in there that hopefully can accelerate a beat, and it's not optimal. Like if you would build an airsoft gun from zero, you could do so cool stuff. And we thought about it. I just don't really know if the market is ready for it. Like if you would build something that looks weird but it shoots way better, I'm not sure if people would actually take it.
Yeah, it's hard. When I look at your equipment, what you are developing, if I look at your chest rigs and everything, I see that you are going more sportive way. Yeah, that you see, I want to improve the play on the field. Yeah, and this is like what paintball did. Yeah, if you look at the paintball marker, the tournament markers, it doesn't need to look like an 16. You don't need the stock because you have the bottle there. Yeah, you don't need an red dot. Yeah, because you're aiming through the barrel. Yeah, exactly. So these markers go more like sporting goods. Yeah.
We do try to find a balance because, like in my opinion, there's no reason ever to use a plate carrier. But people want a plate carrier, and now we made it's cool. And now when we said we make a plate carrier, we really sat down and said it kind of makes no sense. But let's still make it look cool, but make it as lightweight and as functional and as breathable as possible. So at least you can enjoy the coolness factor while not having all the massive disadvantages of a plate carrier. So that was kind of. But it's really a balance that I'm also trying to find with the company, because we did have concepts of from the ground up Springer sniper rifles that were not designed around a real firearm. And the concept is done. It looks really weird, and we don't even know if we should start this project. It's very strange to look at, but it's very cool actually. From like it's very lightweight, it's very short, it's pure efficiency. Yeah.
You see some companies do a little bit modification if you look into speed airsoft.
Yeah. Speedball. Yeah. But also here it still follows. I know what you mean, but they try to make out of an AR a paintball gun. Yeah. Which is weird because
yes.
I understand it because it's an easy route to go because you have all the toolings for the receivers and all that, and now you just modify parts of it, which is cheaper. Oh, okay. The editor behind the camera told me I am not allowed to hit the table. But yeah, what I wanted to say is. What was it?
The guns, how they look like.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they kind of they build around a system that's flawed in a way. Yeah. While I think when they built the paintball gun, they were kind of like, we need a barrel, and I need to look on the side of the barrel so the barrel cannot start in my head. Like it needs to start somewhere here. I need some unit, that just throws them out, and I need something to support against my shoulder, and they just they build what makes the most sense.
It looks a little bit like paintball in the 90s.
Yeah. But what's funny then is that you see that MagFat is becoming bigger, which is like
the other way.
Like why is this even happening? Like if you want a real looking gun,
In MagFat, if you look at the player which is playing MagFat, it's mostly older players, and a lot of tournament players which played tournament in the 90s, and in the 2000s, they are going now into MagFat, because they say, well, I want to play paintball, I want to play with my friends, just grab them together, go to a field, and when I'm at the field, I want to have an adventure. They don't want all the infrastructure you need for speedball or for tournament paintball. They just want to hunt,
have fun,
and have fun. And so if they look and see, okay, well, that looks like an M16, that's cool, and I can shoot paintballs or first strikes, first strikes with the fins, they say, well, that's cool, and in the tournaments, I shoot about 4,000 to 6,000 balls, and now with the MagFit, I shoot about 500 balls and have the same fun. So they decide to play MagFit.
So I had a conversation with Mark Buttman a couple weeks ago, also a podcast. It's a guy who runs the Battle Arena program in Airsoft, which is kind of like a championship that he wants to distribute internationally.
Cool.
And what he said in the podcast is that he doesn't want, like when he's looking at speedball, he doesn't want that Airsoft makes the same mistakes as paintball. And when he said that, I was kind of like, what is he talking about? Do you think that this is that speedball is trying to become what paintball tried to become, that when paintball failed with it and Speedsoft will experience the exact same thing?
You need to think about what's the goal, What's the goal of a tournament? What's the goal of a single player, When you say the goal for a single player is to have fun, Paintball in tournament paintball did a lot of mistakes. Really a lot.
What was the biggest one? Like, what can we learn? What can the Airsoft community learn from the history and failure of competitive paintball?
Well, it's a very long story. I think we can do a podcast only on this.
Okay, really quick. The biggest milestones.
If you look in the 90s, paintball was a lifestyle. Paintball was cool. You go to a field, you go to a tournament, you play there. Well, you have kind of rules. Where you should stick to the rules, but there was a big gray zone, and that was in this time legends were born, all the big players, came out of the 90s, and it was cool, you have a little bit of fight in every tournament, and in the 2000s the rules get stricter and stricter, you get banned if you get a hit on your battle pack where you carry the pots. If you get a hit there, you can't feel it, or you can't hardly feel it. And when you're on the way to your obstacle, and you get a hit, and you just come into the obstacle, the ref came and said you're out, and so, what? And if you would just say what, or if you just say, oh my god, shit, they also take another player out for it. Yeah, so the rules
for the cursing, or
and the rules were really, really hard. Yeah, and especially in Europe. Yeah, I played myself a lot of tournaments. Yeah, and I talked with a lot of tournament players, and they say, well, I don't want to play anymore, because as soon as I leave the breakout from the start of the game, when I ran from the breakout to the first obstacle and I get a hit and I doesn't feel it, yeah, it isn't fun anymore that the referee takes me and another player out. Yeah, and this happens not once a day; it happens 5 to 10 times a day. Yeah, and it takes the fun out. Yeah, and we had a very, very hard reffing in Europe. Yeah, and in the 90s, you just go to a tournament and have fun. Yeah, you bought new products. Yeah, you played paintball. You had players' parties. Everything was cool. Yeah, it was a weekend full of fun. Yeah, and in the 2000s, when you go to a tournament, it was just, well, go to the bed in the right time. Don't eat any junk food. Stick to the rules. Yeah, be a good sportsman. Yeah. Don't fuck around on the field. There were no players' parties, so they took all the fun out of this event. And then the amateur players, which need to pay everything for their own, they thought about it and, well, should I spend 1,000, 1,500 euros on a weekend there, or just go to a playing field or go on vacation or whatever? And this was the point where it changed. And this is maybe the mistake. Yeah. It's a hobby. Airsoft is a hobby and a sport. Paintball is a hobby and a sport.
I think the problem is, as soon as you make something competitive and people want to win, like, man, you should have heard the story from Mark Buttman. Guys, listen to the podcast of Mark Buttman. It's super interesting. You can, I think it's, I don't know exactly when, but we talk about the Battle Arena final European tournament, and he said it was an absolute disaster. Like, as soon as it's competitive, people just become absolute assholes. And it brings out the worst out of human nature. And I think when you look at Airsoft, it's already, people already say, oh, there was so many cheaters, there was this and that, even though it's about nothing but fun. Yeah? You can't win anything, you don't lose any money if you get hit, you literally walk back to the respawn and go, like, you lose nothing, like, it's only a pure ego issue, but still people freak the fuck out. And once you make this competitive, I see a lot of it, like, I see so many issues. And when, like, a year ago, I and my business partner, like, we did think about starting a worldwide league, because we thought we have the channel, we have the media, we have the audience, like, we could pull this off. We have the finance, the backing, and all that. And I just thought about what would happen if we make this community that has already some, I think, issues when it comes to sportsmanship and all that, and fair play, and if you add the factor of being competitive to it, I think it's just gonna blow apart. And this thing happened to Mark Button with Battle Arena, and he also told me that they put so much energy into this, they put a lot of money into this, and they started this project, and they got so disappointed by the player community that they actually wanted to stop. Like, they did this for a couple of years. They created, and what you said about, you cannot really make a move, like a TV show out of it, because there's so much stuff happening at the same time. What they do is they equip the people, every single guy with a head cam and a zoom cam, and they edit it. I mean, there's live streams of it as well, which I think you haven't seen yet, and I can't really imagine. Go check it out, guys. I think it's interesting. Like, I don't know how you live stream stuff like this. I think they have multiple angles and cameras, and I think it's very confusing what's happening, as you said. But after that, they edit it together, and it sounds like live commentary. It's not really live commentary, actually. But they show, it's basically like a gameplay that we publish on our YouTube channel, but it's like multiple gameplays, and they cut between the angles. There's a map where you can see the players, and it's still actually too much going on that you understand what's going on, but it's still kind of entertaining to watch. So that they did this for years, I think, I don't know, a couple of years, and then the last event, that I think it was shortly before Corona hit, they were just like, fuck this, it's not worth it.
You always need to think about who is watching, If an player is watching, he will understand it, But
not even. Maybe
I should understand.
I think it's 3 versus 3.
Really?
Like
Okay.
3 versus 3. You know how much is going on with 3 people fight. Like it's so much going on.
But if an outstanding person is watching, they will
not get it in.
Not at all.
It's like one of those action movies where there's like 5 cuts every second and it's just the fists flying through there.
Yeah. They can't recognize the people.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard once from a video maker, they said why it's Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs.
Yeah.
It's because people can recognize about 7 different characters and not more. If you make a movie with 10 or 20 characters, the movie will fail, because they can't recognize.
Could be, I have actually a really hard time with that. Like if there's, like I watch Narcos on Netflix, man, my brain can't process. There's so many people. I did write down some other talking points. So okay, let's start with playground. How did all this inflatable stuff start? Is it because it's mobile and you can transport it, or because you can't hurt yourself with it, or what's the deal?
It's a French company which invited the sub-air ball.
Mm-hmm.
If you pronounce it in French, it's called super, like super in English. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And they invented it to get mobile fields where you can build everywhere. If you make a tournament, you just put the obstacles there, you put the netting around, and that's the key factors. And they looked in other sports what they did, and it was the same time where the big run was out of the woods, and British company makes this hyperball field, and a few years later the French started with the super balls, just to have a big obstacle in quick time where people can hide behind. That's it.
How does it actually work? You just inflate it and then you close it up.
That's it. There were in the last few years there were different systems, but the key is you just fill air in, you plug it, and that's it. Yeah.
But why does it have to be mobile?
Because they wanted to go out of the woods in the beginning.
Yeah, but why don't you just take land and put fixed obstacles there that are there the whole year?
Because of the working time. We had very big tournaments in Disney World Paris. Mm-hmm. There was the parking lot in front of the Disneyland Paris.
So you actually built the field to have the competition there?
Yeah.
It's not, let's go to Vienna because there's already a field?
No.
Okay.
They make the tournaments on special venues. We had there, this was the European Cup. Every year it was a very big tournament. They built 7 fields, I guess, and complete trade show, and it was just in front of Disney World Paris. We were there the whole weekend. It was fun. It was tournament. We go into the Disney World. It was perfect. And when the tournament was over, 4 days or 5 days later, everything was away.
That's actually really cool. All you need is just land.
Yeah, that's right. We had tournaments in Crystal Palace in London. Mm-hmm. Crystal Palace is a very big sports stadium. We have tournaments in Spain. Also in big football stadiums. It's incredible. It was very, very cool. And it's there for 4 days.
And the competitive league only always had the inflatable targets, right? It doesn't switch between sometimes something like an airsoft field and then the inflatable. It's always this kind of field. Like it's completely flat. There's no elevation in any direction. Just
since the 90s, the real tournament is just on this field. We have since 5 years, we have the old classic league, which is in paintball also a step back into the woods, where we have also old tournament players which play tournaments in the woods. It's working in the United States. There are some tournaments in England. We will see if we have some tournaments in Europe also, because it's fun.
When you go to a league in paintball, do I know how the field looks like and I trained at this exact field but at home? Or is it randomized?
In the last 10 years, yes. You have approximately 4 weeks before a tournament, the new layout comes out, which says, okay, that's the bunkers, that's your angles, let's train on this.
And then they recreate this exact field and... Oh wow, that's cool because you can basically you know what you're gonna play it.
Yeah, you have different game plans. So if you go as a team there, basically you have 5 to 7 different game plans, which about more defense or attack, yeah, and then you switch. Every player knows his position, yeah. If he's playing forward or backward, yeah, he knows his way, yeah. He knows where he has to look, where the enemy player could hit him, yeah. So if you look at paintball tournaments, sometimes a player is just standing right there in the open, yeah, and you think, oh, why? Nobody sees him. Yeah? It's the reason because he knows all the corners. Yeah, he knows that when the enemy is there, nobody sees him.
That's so different. It's so different to Airsoft. Yeah. It's wildly different. Okay, well, wait, I actually had something on my mind, but I forgot it now. I had something. I had a really smart question. What was it again? Yes. Okay, when you play in woodland competition, do you also know what's gonna happen? And also, what is the game modes in this competition? Is it always just
capture the flag?
Capture the flag.
Yeah,
and capture the flag is get it from the middle and bring it back, or
it's enter a center flag, like you said, catch it in the middle, or base flag. You go to the starting point of the other team, where there is their flag. You grab them and bring it back to yours.
And there's never respawn, right? If you're down, you're down.
No.
And the games are what? 3 minutes?
The wood games are longer. It's about 5, 7, maybe 10 minutes. Yeah.
But on the inflatable target fields, is this also
shorter?
Is this capture the flag as well?
Kind of. They changed the flags to buzzers. Yeah. You need to go on the other side of the field and to hit the buzzer to get your point. Yeah.
And that's it. You
don't have to go back. Yeah. You don't need to eliminate all the other players. Yeah, if there are still 2 players alive, it doesn't matter. You just need to hit the buzzer. Yeah.
And on the woodlands, to get back to my other question, you don't know how it looks like, right? You cannot train on it because the woodland is you can't recreate it.
You have a field reading before. Yeah. So before the tournament starts, the day before or the hours before, you go onto the field. Yeah. You look around. Yeah. How the obstacles are built, where to hide, which is the best way, and then you make your field plans out of it. Yeah, like if you look in skiing, they have also the time where they look at the skiing, the racetrack, and they look how they should ski through it. Yeah.
What about women in the sport? Like, is this when you compare Airsoft to paintball?
Generally in paintball, so rental and tournament and everything, it's rising. It's about, I would say, 30%. Yeah,
in paintball.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Also in rental. Yeah, we have, when you look at the weekend at the fields, about 30% are women. Yeah, which play. It's like we said before. It's completely okay to play paintball. It's fun. Yeah. We had a lot of brides there, which go there for their stag parties and hen parties. Yeah, so it's fun. And in Airsoft, you can say how many girls you say in Airsoft.
I would say 2% on 100 players, 2 girls. And that's also like it's not a girl going to an Airsoft game. I think it's more like a boyfriend bringing his girl to an Airsoft game. Yeah. That's what it mostly is. Yeah.
There are 2 different types of girls which play Airsoft. Yeah, they're the ones who really want to play, and they're the ones who just play there because of their boyfriends. Yeah.
So, do you think that is because what surprises me a bit is that I would say because paintball hurts so much more, less. This is absolutely sexist to say, actually. But I would say that even though women are more resistant to pain, I feel like they don't have to urge to show that they can suffer through it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that women cannot handle pain. By God means like they can go through so much more pain than we do. But a man is kind of like, I'm a man, like I'm gonna blow for pain, but I don't care.
Warrior.
I'm a warrior. And the woman's just like, I'm not fucking stupid. Like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that it's this high. I'm surprised that it's this high. I actually thought it's exactly the same as an Airsoft. But maybe it's the rental thing, and that it's a thing to send a company for team building to a paintball game.
It's this, that the whole companies come, and it's if you play paintball, if you're a slow player and you just look behind the bunker, it's just your face, and the paintball marker. And if you get a hit on the face or on the marker, it's no pain.
Fingers,
gloves.
Yeah. Good. So development of the fields. You did say that at some point they started with the inflatable stuff, but what was the general, like from the very beginning to now? How did this look like?
The playing fields. Well, there was always a big part playing in the woods. Woods is always cool in the beginning. Everybody thinks of the woods if he wants to go to play. But if you want to go a second or a third time, you want to have a little bit more than woods. So then we talked about the speedball fields, the speedball maps, where you have obstacles like pallets, like pipes, something material what you find, or these ECP containers, the water containers, you know them. These are speedball fields, So you're not in the woods, you can play outside, you have fun. The playing time is not so long, You go in, you play, you go out, And in the last 15 years, you see a rise of the scenario fields. We call it in the paintball park or airsoft park, we call it theme fields. So you give each map a different theme. Right now we build an Vietnam themed field, where we tried to build everything which looks like in a Vietnam War movie. So you have a Viet Cong hut. You have a helicopter. You have also the surroundings. Is everything styled like you're actually there. And if you go out of the field just 10 meters to the next field, you're in a big Mad Max world, where you have cars, where you have a lot of containers, where you have metal. So the rise of these scenario fields was big because we saw the people want to play what they see in movies. And
that's what your field looks like, right? I mean, when I played it, it's like an airplane over there, and then there's containers over here, and then there's like a church and a graveyard, and so that's what your field is all about, right? It's a theme park, basically.
We know we have some players though which want to go on maps which look like in war. And we have also players which say, well, I don't want this kind of fields, I had it a little bit more funny, or we also make a field which looks like if you're in a construction area, It's a small field, it's called Iron, where we have just a few containers, where we have some boxes there, It's easy, and the people love it, because they don't want always to go on war fields, And so we have different maps, and it's also if you're planning such a map, you put in a lot of time, a lot of thought, a lot of input, You tried to build this for every kind of player, So there are some basic rules like the first obstacles should be high, so that the people can hide behind them, So the little girls can hide behind the first obstacles and look over the field what's happening, Then you say in the middle of the field you have different heights of your obstacles, so that every player can go through the middle and see something. So we try to develop fields where everybody can have fun on it.
And that's what it's all about.
And also for paintball and also for airsoft players. We know that there are different needs. We know that you need the airsoft sniper range, to have a good gameplay. In paintball, you don't have these kind of snipers. The paintball player needs it a little more compact.
Well, I never thought about this. Like when I play a game, I just play, but I never think about like who actually designed this field, like which thoughts did go into it. Did this guy actually stand here and check all the angles to the poster and said, "Here we need another cover"? So that's very interesting to hear. Like I never thought about this perspective actually.
Right now we're working with 3D programs to plan every field, to go into the field with the computer and look around. How does it look like? and
that's cool.
development takes about. We have fields where we developed about 2 years, yeah, and if we are fast, we need 4 months for a field.
So where do you see all of this going? When you look into the future, okay, you have all the knowledge in the past, you've seen both sports for the last 20 years. Where's paintball heading and where's airsoft heading?
My heart bleeds if I say this.
Yeah.
I see a big rise in paintball in the rental. Yeah. I don't see a big rise in tournament games. Well, there's a little chance, yeah, because right now of all the pandemic and COVID-19, the paintball community in the United States, yeah, so the cool tournament players, is a little bit rising, yeah, and here in Europe we hope, yeah, that it swaps over the ocean to us, yeah, that it's a little bit more lifestyle again, yeah. But to come back on your question, paintball is rising in the rental, yeah, because the people just want to go there, have fun for a couple of hours, then take back all the equipment and go home. And in airsoft, I see a big rise of players, yeah, because, like I said before, it's easy, yeah. Right now you get airsoft guns everywhere, yeah. Here in Vienna, I know 4 to 5 places where you can buy any kind of gun, yeah, not really good ones, but you can buy your first airsoft gun and you can check it out in your garden, yeah, and wow, it's running, yeah, and you go to a game day, yeah, and then you follow up, then you bought your better gun, and so on and so on. So it's the easiest way, yeah, and people always choose the easiest way. So I see a big potential in the airsoft players with their own equipment, and I see a big potential in the paintball rental business, yeah. And if you look at paintball, the mag feed, yeah, and the scenario, when somebody plays rental and it's cool for him, right now you have a 70% chance that he's playing scenario and mag feed and not the tournament.
Okay, Hannes, before we end it, where can people find your field? Where can they find the shop that you're running? Like, where's all this stuff?
Yeah, we have the playing field about 10 minutes with your car outside of Vienna. Yeah, it's the Paintballpark Vienna, Paintballpark Wien, and also for the airsoft players we have the Airsoft Park, yeah, .at. Just go on the website, check everything. We have there all the rental calendar, we have all the playing dates there. You find also a shop there, yeah. Go there, grab your gear and have fun.
Thanks for joining, Hannes.
You too, thank you.